Okay, welcome back to 5-Minute Bible Study. This next story is crazy. I will read it and we'll go from there. So it is Matthew 14, 1-12. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the reports about Jesus. And he said to his attendants, "This is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead. That is why miraculous powers are at work in him." Now Herod, in the past, had arrested John and bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John had been saying to Herod, "Hey, it's not lawful for you to have her, to sleep with her." Herod wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of the people because they considered him a prophet. On Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias, the daughter of the woman he's having an affair with, danced for them and pleased Herod so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." The king was distressed, but because of his oaths and his dinner guests, he ordered that her request be granted and had John beheaded in the prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who carried it to her mother. John's disciples came and took his body and buried it, and then they went and told Jesus. This is crazy. Okay, so the first thing I noticed was that word was getting out about Jesus all the way to the top, which I thought, my goodness, back in those days, how hard would that have been? They didn't have social media or TikTok or YouTube, and think about right now how hard it is to become a YouTube star. So for this news to travel all the way to the top was huge. And then he said to his servants, "Hey, this isn't Jesus. You guys, everyone's saying this is Jesus. This isn't Jesus. I'll tell you who it is. It's John the Baptist. He's the one who's doing this. He's alive. I know I killed him, but he rose from the grave and he is like this super spiritual being now. And he's empowered by this afterlife, and that's why he can do all these miracles." He's freaking out that he's being punished by a guy he killed because he knows he killed him wrongly. So then it says how he killed him. He first of all had arrested John, shackled him, put him in jail because he didn't like it when John called him out on having an affair with his brother's wife. So Herod was having an affair with her, and John told him that this was wrong, sinning, that he was breaking the law. And he was so ticked about this, about being told that he was sinning or being told that he was a sinner, that he wanted to kill John. So he wanted to fix a sin situation with another sin. And how often this is our response, maybe not necessarily as extreme, but we don't like being told we're doing something wrong. I don't like it. I'm very quick to jump to my defense. If Ted points something out to me, I'm like, yeah, but, because we don't like it. It doesn't feel good to be faced with our patheticness, with the things that we do wrong. But he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't do anything with John because John was so popular that he was viewed as a holy man and the people would hate him for it. So he couldn't kill John. So he just left him in jail, and he harbored hate, anger, and guilt. And on his birthday, his lover's daughter danced for him for his celebration, and he loved it so much he couldn't get enough. And he was kind of in a trance, and so then he gave what you would think is a king's decree. He gave this promise that she could have whatever she wanted. She could ask him, he would give it, nothing he would say no to. So her mom says, "Hey, tell him I want John's head on a platter." This is Herod's lover, the woman he is having an affair with. And I wonder if she did this because she could see that Herod was racked with guilt and struggling because John kept saying, "You're sinning, you're sinning, you're sinning." And she didn't want it to end either. So she said, "You know what? Let's get the monkey off both of our backs. Kill him. Bring me his head. And then we can proceed peacefully in this affair." And the other thing is, she selfishly took a huge opportunity from her daughter, because this was a big opportunity for her daughter, but she used it for herself. And Herod, when he heard the request, he was pooping his pants. He didn't want to kill John because everyone would hate him, but at the same time, everyone had seen and heard his grand promise, so he couldn't be seen as a coward or someone who backs down, so he had to save face, he had to do it, so he orders his servants to do it. Kind of like a hire to kill. And John was murdered, and his head was chopped off, no reason, no explanation, and they brought his head, and I thought, this sounds like it still happened in the same night, so it might still be oozing blood, freshly killed. They bring it in on a plate, and they gave it to the daughter, who, I wonder, was she grossed out? I don't think Summer would be very happy if that's what I told her to get. And she brought it to her mom, and I wonder, did this expose her mom as the one who asked for it, and then why would she ask for it? And then in the other way, John's followers were faithful to the very earthly end. They loved him in his death. They took his body, they buried it, they honored it. They went and told Jesus. And I just noted that the disciples, John's disciples, were faithful in the heart. They were probably scared, but they still followed. They didn't hide or run, even when John couldn't see them anymore. Even when there was nothing to benefit from your teacher seeing and thinking, my goodness, you did an awesome job. They honored him even in his death, even in his absence. And the two things I take from this is, my goodness, when we don't want to admit we've done something wrong, or when we don't want to admit we're sinners or that we're flawed, how far are we willing to go to fight that, to defend ourselves, even though we actually don't have a defense? He was doing something wrong. He was sleeping with his brother's wife, but he just couldn't admit it. And it only made his situation worse. And he couldn't shake John when John was alive. And I'm not so sure he could shake John after killing him. I don't think he was any better off for it and any freer to enjoy his affair. And on the other end, when we're put in a hard situation, when following Jesus means following him into hard things and scary things, I hope I would be like John's disciples, and I hope I would stick by his side and honor him. Maybe that shows how truly you love him and how faithfully you really do want to follow him and how much you believe him. When you keep going, when it's not the easy thing anymore, to keep going.